Alright, everybody, today we're gonna get a little bit real, okay? So, the moment I defied doctors. Not many people have moments like this where you just completely go against what any medical professional has told you. I did it. I'm glad I did. So, this revolves around birth. Again, with my first birth, I had a traditional, especially in Nebraska, birth. I went to the OBGYN, I wound up being induced, had an emergency C-section. But when I went to have my when I found out I was pregnant with our son, I decided I wanted a different route. I did not want to repeat the C-section. I did not want a hospital birth again. And every doctor, birth professional I talked to wouldn't let me try outside of a hospital setting. They never considered why I was induced in the first place or why I even had the emergency C-section. It boiled down to I did not have the proper nutrition and I didn't know any better the first time around. So we started looking at providers. The birth center in Lincoln wouldn't accept me. In the center, I could go to the hospital and they could attend me there, but I could not birth there at the center. I decided to give it an open chance. I went and toured the hospital. I had a full-blown out anxiety attack, and I'm not one who gets those. Prior to this, I'd had one other full-on anxiety attack in my 26 years of life. Birth in a hospital was not going to happen for me. That was a very clear distinction and sign. So what was I going to do? I went against the doctors and I birthed at home. I was fortunate to find a midwife who was able to attend me and help there. She was wise enough to just watch and let me be and do my thing, but she was also wise enough to know when she needed to step in. Unfortunately, many women aren't that lucky, especially in Nebraska and Arkansas, the two hardest places to give birth at home. Home birth itself is not illegal. Having a certified medical professional is illegal at home. This is where the gray area gets in. If you want to have a birth at home completely on your own, you have no problems. If you want someone there to attend you, that's when you start to have more issues. And especially finding someone to do that. So many women who don't want to give birth in a hospital do wind up actually going solo. And a lot of times it winds up just fine. The argument that I always hear about why birth needs to be in the hospital is that it's always safer. And that's not really true. There is data out there and studies that have been done that shows that home birth is really just as safe as a hospital birth. So why are women not allowed to choose where and with whom they give birth? A lot of this revolves around policies, laws, and unfortunately, the dollar. In the 20th century, birth started to move into the hospitals. And it really didn't take long that was when we saw the introduction of narcotics in birth and painkillers and whatever. It didn't take long for the hospital boards to realize just how much money they can make on birth. As of December 2019, the Business Insider found that the average cost, this is on average across the entire United States, was $10,800. And that's without complications during delivery. If you factor in the care before, the care after, or if you had a C-section, like I did, it's upward to close to $30,000. No wonder they want women in the hospitals. It's money making for them. And that's terrible, honestly. But between the hospitals and the insurance companies, they have enough pull that they can influence the policies. And that's what we've seen a lot in Nebraska. There are movements in Nebraska to get these changed, to give women the right and the ability to choose with whom and where they give birth. Hopefully in the next soon we'll see that happen and it'll loosen up and free up a little bit. But as it stands right now, Nebraska is one of the hardest places to find a home birth midwife. There's a lot of midwives who will refuse to come here because of Nebraska policies and the way they treat home birth, direct entry late midwives. So, what can you do? Look up the laws in your state, whether you're in Nebraska, whether you're in Kansas. Knowing the laws lets you know A, the loopholes, and B, allows you to talk to your state representatives and tell them how you feel. Look up the research, look up the data. I'll do a talk on it later. And show them how home birth is safe and that we really do need and should have the right. And by them limiting who is able to attend births, they're actually not making it any safer. They're just forcing women to choose whether they go to the hospital or just go solo. So, we'll talk to you guys later.